Well, you heard her mention it. The man suspected of starting the Palisades fire has ties to Southern California, more specifically the Palisades.
And at KCAL News senior investigative reporter Ross Palombo is here with more on the connection, Ross.
Well, two bombshell developments today, Pat and Ruta Bay. The first, of course, is that alleged arsonist. He has been arrested. 29-year-old Jonathan Rinderneck is accused only at this point of arson, despite those 12 deaths. What we know about him is that he was arrested and brought into court today in Orlando. His initial appearance was just 8 minutes long in front of a federal judge where he was given a public defender. He now has another hearing in U.S. District Court, again in Orlando, tomorrow at 6:45 in the morning, our time. Now, this is happening in Florida because he moved there after the fire, but while he was here, we know he once lived in the Palisades area, and we know he drove for Uber and allegedly started the fire, as Jasmine just reported, after dropping off a passenger at the Skull Rock trailhead. Now, Uber says he was not on the app at the time of the fire, but they still, quote, worked closely with the ATF to help determine the driver's whereabouts on and around January 1st and provided the ATF with crucial GPS data and other relevant information. As for authorities, while they were investigating, the suspect was living here in Melbourne, just outside of Orlando, and lived there without incident, as far as we can tell. He has no criminal history, in fact, that we could find, at least not yet. An arson investigator I spoke with says it's actually not uncommon to have an arsonist with a clean history, and adds that most arsons are one-offs, explaining that most arsonists only ever light one major fire. That investigator, who used to head the Los Angeles Sheriff's Department arson unit, also talked about the second key element revealed today, that the ATF said the fire department put out the initial fire on New Year's Day, and that it was that same fire that somehow reignited to burn down the Palisades. The big question now, he says, is how did LAFD monitor that area to make sure that fire was completely out?
The job of the fire department is to put out fires and make sure they're out. That is their second main job. Their first is rescue. So yeah, some tough questions should be asked of various people there on what steps were taken after the first fire.
Isn't it possible the fire could have evaded them and they just couldn't see it?
Yes, it is possible. They have the equipment to check on this very simply with helicopters. They have thermal imaging equipment that will spot hot spots. That's what it's for.
This morning, Mayor Bass did say the city would release that report, and they did just a little while ago. All of this coming on the heels of several of our investigations showing problems with how LAFD and the city were not servicing these fire hydrants. And we showed the understaffing problems the LAFD's brush inspection unit had during the fire and before the fire as well. Now, if the fire department is found to be negligent, the city would likely face lawsuits. So far, of course, no one can say that for sure. You might wonder why the suspect might not be held responsible for both of these fires. Experts actually say the defense could claim that the initial fire was put out and that the fire department was responsible for making sure it stayed out. Ruta Bay?
Okay, Ross, thank you.